Okay, I'm recording this video after close of trade Tuesday, 20th of July 2010. I apologize, I've got a little bit of a sore throat at the moment, so if I sound a bit croaky, that's why. And we had quite an exciting kind of reversal day today. And just want to show you, this is an Emini daily chart here with my better sine wave indicators showing, cyclical support and resistance levels here. And this was today's activity. The high to low range was almost about 27, 28 points, and we started off, there was so many patterns kind of today. This is candlestick, Japanese candlestick, kind of aficionados would call this a bullish engulfing pattern today. You can see we opened below the low of the previous bar's day, and then we closed above the previous day's high, and so that's kind of a bullish engulfing pattern. Yesterday was actually a little bit of a doji pattern. You can see here where the open and the close is very close, and I think that's also what people called a spinning doji as well, because the distance from the open close to the high or to the low is kind of very similar, so it looks like kind of a spinning top. And then if you're a Larry Williams kind of fan, this is a classic oops pattern where the market opens below the low of the previous day, and it's actually of the last 2 days, and then immediately reverses, and all of a sudden the traders who've kind of shorted at the open expecting a massive kind of down day say to themselves, oops, I've got that wrong, and the market reverses and goes the other way. And so a lot of kind of bearish sentiment today. A lot of traders kind of stopped out of their positions as we accelerated to the highs. It was almost an exponential move in the latter part of the day, and for me that always shows signs of kind of a blow off and a lot of stops being hit and so on. So you might hear quite a lot of bullish calls at the moment. I would just say be very, very careful right now. Tomorrow's activity is going to be absolutely key, and a lot of people are going to use today's activity to convince us that the bull market is still in place, that the low that we had down at 1,000 is going to hold, and that we're going to see 1,100 kind of taken out to the upside, and blah blah blah. So let me just show you what I'm seeing on my charts, and I'm just saying just be very wary today. Tomorrow are going to be kind of critical to confirm whether that is the case. My gut feeling says I don't think that is the case, but let me show you what I'm seeing. The thing I just want to bring up just quickly on this chart, just turn on the better pro-am signals. Yesterday was actually a no supply day as well, so we had yesterday was extremely quiet. I found the last couple of days tricky trading because there's not been. I'll show you on my 4500 tip bar chart why that's the case. But yesterday was a very quiet day, and we kind of stepped on down to this open this morning, and then just kind of took off to the upside. I said a couple of days ago I thought the 135-minute chart, the cyclical turn on the 135-minute chart, would be where this down move would end. Well, we've got the cyclical turn. It's just kind of signaled, but really a little bit late, 2 or 3 bars kind of late. The better kind of signal in terms of these cyclical patterns was the 81-minute chart, which kind of was catching this low kind of cyclical point a little bit better in this time frame. So although my overall kind of views are still fairly bearish, we've still the thing that's kind of got in the back of my head is still there, is this pullback in an uptrend, cyclical support on a weekly time frame. And once cyclical support like this is in place, on the higher time frames, that tends to mean that a trend is in place. And so I'm just wary that this might be a little bit of a rally. So I'm a bit torn, 50-50 at the moment, but my gut is saying I don't like the activity, that kind of blow off activity that we saw until close today, and I'll just show you some of that action. So there we go. That's kind of what's happening on my cyclical better sine wave charts. Just to show you the longer term charts, this is the 40,500 tip bar chart at the E-mini, and this was the 1100 level that we kind of reversed around. We had this pullback a few days ago. I was hoping that we get this beautiful end of trend warning signal that would signal this top, and then we didn't. The move was so sharp to the downside that we just kind of moved down. You can see we've kind of lurched. Today's open below yesterday's low, and we've had these kind of 3 moves down into a no supply and stopping volume patterns here, with bullish divergence here showing that there's less and less selling happening as these new lows are made after we had kind of exhaustion selling on the downside here. And you can see today's activity, we had professional bars. First of all, this move on the downside, we had a professional bar up here, the professionals taking profits, going short, a little bit of amateurs getting wrong-footed, beginning of this move, we kind of moved down. The first time the professionals come in to take profits is down here. Then on this little rise on Monday, you can see professionals active at the end of the day, just getting set. I think they were probably taking profits there on the down move. And then overnight we had a couple of amateur down bars. So the activity into these kind of 1050 type levels was being driven by the amateurs here, and that low that we opened, with the gap down open, was being driven by the amateurs, and so it reversed and went the other way and caught a lot of people out during the day, with a whole series of stops being taken out as that move accelerated higher. And then we've come into a cyclical turn on this higher time frame, plus we got this professional activity right at the end of the day. Quite a few blue bars. You don't see quite that many happening at the end of an A. So that means that's important for me. That means that is professional profit taking. The amount of buying that we have is pretty extreme. As soon as this better momentum indicator starts to turn over, we'll have an exhaustion volume signal there. The amount of buying that was happening into, as I said, this kind of exponential move up was pretty extreme. So that could start to signal that there's a down move there. I want to point out something that I didn't mention this a couple of days ago when we were talking about this high, and it had me confused. Normally what I like to see is an exhaustion volume signal at the beginning and the end of the move, and I talked about a couple of weeks ago when this move got set off, when we tested 1000 and we started moving up through these highs. You can see this exhaustion volume pattern here at the very beginning of this up move with these professional blue bars, and this was breaking through significant support levels up here at 1025, 1030, and then the move really got going to 1100. I like to see exhaustion volume that's the volume that sets this move in motion, and then at the end of a trend I like to see exhaustion volume again that signals that's the final profit taking. That's where the amateurs get sucked into the market right at the end, all the stops kind of get taken out, and the move can reverse. And what we had when we made this high around 1100, we never saw that exhaustion volume selling at this point up here, and it kind of got me a little bit confused. And I'm just wondering if we're actually coming back to retest towards these kind of highs. I mean, if we didn't get to 1100 last time, we got to 1095. Unlikely to get to kind of 1095 this time. Maybe we'll get to 1090, something like that. If that scenario plays out with exhaustion volume, that would be our exhaustion kind of selling volume signal at the end of this trend move. So that's a hypothesis I'm kind of playing with at the moment. The other kind of nice thing when you drop down to the 13,500 tip bar chart was the low of today. Let me just back up a second. I'm running away with myself here. Once you have a trend move or a move start below cyclical support, you look for support to come in using two things. You go to a higher time frame to look for a cyclical support that kind of comes in, or you go to a lower time frame and look for an end of trend warning signal. And well, this is the highest time frame tip bar chart that I can look at on TradeStation at the moment, just because of the restriction on the tip bars. So what I do is look down to one time frame down to look for an end of trend warning signal. So one time frame down is 13,500, so that's 1/3 of the 40,500. And yesterday on Monday we had our end of trend, and here's our second cyclical turn after an end of trend. And you can start to see the beauty of this move, how the end of trend warning signal was here. We have all these bullish divergence points. This last push down at the open of today was being led by the amateurs here. You can see all these yellow amateur bars in the overnight session pushing it down. That's a lot of kind of gaming by the professionals to push the market down in the overnight session to get people a bit freaked out. We kind of gap open down, and people think, well, we're just going to the bottom's fallen out of this market, and of course what happens, it takes off to the upside. So it's the second cyclical turn after an end of trend warning signal here, and you come in. So we've broken into an uptrend in terms of this time frame, so I need to see a pullback and an end of trend here to signal this move. So that's likely to happen with the cyclical patterns here in the next day and a half. You can see all the professional activity in here, and we had our exhaustion kind of buying signals here with bearish divergence. So I'm starting to see that there's actually weakness in the market rather than strength in the market, and it's just a question of testing these 90-95 levels and getting that exhaustion selling signal, and so the market can start to reverse. One of the things that I very occasionally talk about this chart is I measure the average trade size. I do that. That's what Pro-Am is all about. The Pro-Am paint bars show me amateurs and professionals, and I also do that on different time frames, on a daily time frame here. And you can see today's activity was all about, and particularly at the end of the day, the second half of the day, as soon as all those stops were kind of getting hit, that was all professional activity. That was all large average trade size activity going on. And you see these at the beginning of moves and the end of moves, professional activity like this.